Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And today we are going to go ahead and do a character guide on Cloud. Cloud C90 just came out on Global, and I did decide to green him. I really like Cloud. I think he's got a lot of good utility in his kit. I think he can be very useful to a lot of players, depending on what your box looks like, right? So we're going to jump in. We're going to look at his artifacts, his spheres, do a little showcase, explain his kit. I think a lot of veteran players are obviously very familiar with his kit, but this could be really useful to a newer player to understand how to play Cloud, right? The first thing I'm going to do, I wanted to start with this, but Cloud actually has two extra weapons in the game. So one of them you can't get anymore. One was like a special pre-order bonus for Dissidia NT. So I think it's basically unobtainable at this point. But the other weapon he has is actually a must-buy. So this is unlike Rem, where I talked about she had like the Karula dagger, which was in the power token shop. That one just gave her ice damage on her brave attack, like just her normal brave attack, and it doesn't really do anything else. So other than being a very cool weapon glass, you don't really need to buy that one. But for Cloud, his is a must buy. So you want to go to the power token shop right away. If you haven't done this, you need to buy this Crimson Edge and get it max limit broken. This makes it so Cloud debuffs an enemy every time he does a critical hit, I believe. So like basically every time he hits the enemy, he's gonna drop a debuff off. So it's very, very, very important because it gives him the dispel that makes him like so good, or part of what makes him so good in his versatility. So yeah, make sure you pick up that Crimson Edge from the shop. All right, so we're gonna hop in, and we're gonna start off by going through the artifacts. Artifacts are pretty basic on him. You either want to go attack 108, max brave 330, or attack 108, debuff attack up. So whichever one you'd prefer. If you prefer to go all out on attack, then do the debuff attack up. If you want to have some more max brave, do the max brave. But I think any combination of those should be just fine for Cloud. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the spheres for our boy here. All right, so for the A sphere, it's a pretty typical A sphere recommendation. You just want attack and brave damage. Cloud's own sphere is actually really, really good on him. So he gets a 10% brave damage raise, which is very, very good. So just look through your box. Basically, any A sphere that is attack or brave damage that works for you, that you're not using on other characters, go ahead and give that to Cloud. For the D sphere, you pretty much want to focus on something that's going to increase the party's attack. I don't recommend doing Waka with Cloud. You would have to give him a lot of support to get the amount of buffs that you need on to activate Wakas. You could also, if you don't have access to like party attack, you could do something that increases a different stat to the party, like Brave or iBrave or something like that. But ideally, attack is what you want. I went ahead and put Lease on there, so raises the party's attack by 2% when inflicting break or attacking a target with break. So that's pretty much like all the time, right? And then for the E sphere, I kind of like Seymour's on him. So when inflicting a debuff, because Cloud does do a lot of debuffs, raise own attack. I shouldn't say a lot of debuffs, but he constantly can like reapply debuffs like pretty, but he's not like taking up a bunch of debuff slots on the enemy. So if that came out wrong, but Cloud does do debuffing, so he can activate Seymour's, right? So raises own attack up to 3% 2 times once per turn. This is the refined version. If you really like Cloud, you could go for the full version if you have it. So something like that, but basically anything that is going to increase attack for Cloud would be very, very helpful for him, right? Okay, so that's going to be the sphere recommendations. So we're going to hop into a little showcase here and talk about Cloud. Once again, I think a lot of players are going to be pretty familiar with him. Really not much changes with his kit with the C90. He just gets stronger, which is good. Like his kit was already pretty good, right? So we'll go ahead and hop in. I'll do this combo with Rem and Garnet just so I can like turn change to him. I still want to give him good support. I know a lot of people when they do showcases, they do like the unit solo just because then they're the only ones attacking. But I do like showing it in a party comp because I like to be able to show off like numbers that the unit can do. So I think this is a character guide, but I also kind of consider these showcases. So when I do showcases, I do like to make my units look good, just so people can see like if I very heavily invest or like put a really good team comp together, what could this unit look like, right? So Garnet's going to go ahead and do this, Aquamarine, and then we'll go ahead and put her stuff on. So let's go ahead and throw a Lilith on, give us a little HP damage up, which is always good. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and throw the AA on, and then we'll go ahead and do the burst attack. Burst attack right here. Okay. So Cloud, I would say, is a character that doesn't have like a set in stone rotation. You can kind of play with this kit based on what you need. I know sometimes the camera gets really, really wonky on this BT attack. There's sometimes where you just see like half of Alexander's wing and like nothing else. I don't know. You guys can let me know if you've had weird camera issues with Garnet, but I've had it like all the time. Okay, so we're up with Cloud right now. So I'll basically explain the kit. So Cross Slash is like, I would say, a fairly decent damaging attack, and it has a chance to paralyze. But if you follow it up after finishing touch, it turns to Cross Slash Plus, which is a guaranteed paralyze. So the big thing with Cloud is managing your paralyzes and how you do that. The other thing too is we'll do his critical crush right here. This is just basically a free attack. Gives them a little bit of buffs with the AA there. So it's just, kind of got a nice little AA boost on there. So that's something you can just throw out whenever you want to, but we can double check here. So you can see raises own max brave, raises limit of brave that can be stolen, brave damage can be exceeded. So just some of those typical like C90 buffs, right? So what we'll do is, I don't know, let's just go into burst mode and we can just show off everything. That way we don't even have to putz around with like rem swapping turns and whatnot. So Blade Beam Blade Beam is the LD. It doesn't put buffs on, so you don't have to lead with it if you don't want to. For this example, we will lead with it. So Blade Beam does a 2-turn delay and it's AoE, which is really good. So it's very clutch when you want to push the enemies back. You couldn't see it there because they're like off screen. And then following the LD, you're going to get a free skill usage. Typically what you want to do on the free skill usage to maximize your paralyzes, because that's part of what makes Cloud good, is he can keep a decent upkeep on paralyze. You want to go into finishing touch, usually like 9 times out of 10. You want a finishing touch with your free move. So if we finishing touch, this is going to do a lot of damage with a little splash there, and then it would launch. So now these enemies can't be launched, so just imagine a launch happening. And I know that these enemies don't launch. That's fine. Like, you guys understand what a launch is. I don't have to explain it. But just know that would launch, then we could do some attacks, right? So then after the launch, you see we have Cross Slash Plus. Cross Slash Plus is going to be your guaranteed paralyze. So once again, you don't have to use it right this second. Like, you could go into other moves first. Just make sure you use the Cross Slash Plus before doing another finishing touch. You don't want to waste any uses of it. So if we do the Cross Slash Plus, you're going to see we're going to get an auto paralyze. Now, you can still get paralyzed on the normal Cross Slash. It's just not guaranteed. I want to say it's like a 20 or 30% chance. I don't feel like looking at the actual number right now, but just know there's a chance. I'm pretty sure it's less than 50% chance. So it's not like something you can count on, right? So typically, you save your Cross Slashes until you have the plus, but you can use it as a filler move in between, depending on what your skill uses look like. Meteor Rain, this is probably like his best AoE Brave Shave attack. It does a ton of hits. You'll see in some dumps there, and very good damage. Because of the rework with the C90. So his Meteor Rain is a pretty decent button to push now for damage, right? So yeah, that's basically the whole kit there. And then we could do this. This would be another launch if the enemies could be launched. But look at that. We just did 900k, and that was without the launch. So like the damage looking real good, right? Sure, we'll just do a critical crush because we can. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and use the burst attack. His burst effect is fairly generic. So that's the one thing with Cloud is like, it's not like Locke where it's like amazing burst effect, right? Or like Garnet, super amazing burst effect. It did get a few little bit of buffs. It does last 6 turns now. It just gives him a nice boost to like his attack, his brave damage limit, crit damage, things like that. So it just does some generic kind of buff type things for like himself and then a little bit for the party as well. So it's just, yeah, more of a generic buff type thing. He's going to look better with it on, but it doesn't do like any crazy effects like some of these other burst effects do, which is why like if Cloud isn't like a favorite, like I don't know that you'd have to green him because getting the additional burst effect with the extra attack, like, so like for me personally, right, when I'm running Cloud, depending on who I'm running them with, most often than not, I'm going to have a different burst character that I would probably much rather get their burst effect off, right? Like if I'm running Locke, I would rather have an extended round of like defense ignore, right? With Garnet, you would use Garnet's burst right away, get almost to the end, do the other burst, get the gold debuff, and then refresh the buff. And like when you have her gold buff, sorry, I keep saying debuff, but she has a gold buff that's really good for the party. And then you can couple that with a second burst effect, like then things are really cooking, right? So yeah, Cloud wouldn't be my first choice for like using the green attack to get the burst effect, but he would be a nice just additional burst phase if you, well, okay, if you green him, you'd get the burst attack for free, so then you would want that, but then you'd probably use the burst phase with someone else, right? So it just depends on how you want to run Cloud and use them. We'll just do maybe a turn or two more here. Okay, so you can see we've got one guy paralyzed. So in this situation here, if things are looking a little bit scary or whatever, maybe I want to, so I could I've got a free move here, right? So normally, and I've got a cross slash plus up also from the burst. So this is a situation where I wouldn't go in the finishing touch. I would maybe want a cross slash here. And then I've got double paralyze. So then both the enemies are going to go. They're going to miss turns. So you can see turn missed. Their orb is going to count, but that's okay. Paralyze is a very useful effect, right? And then we'll do that. And then we'll just have Rem like tag into Cloud again. But yeah, that's basically it. You just, basically with Cloud, what you're doing is you're really just managing, let me do this here. Do this into Cloud. You're basically just managing the paralyzes and like trying to time that correctly and get that set up how you want to. And then also timing your delays when you need to and things like that. So you just kind of use Cloud's utility. The other thing we're not noticing here, remember, once again, because we have that Crimson Blade passive that you buy from the Power Stone shop, that he would be dispelling one buff every time he deals damage to an enemy, which is really, really good, right? So, yeah, that's basically it. We'll show off another Blade Beam here at the end, but Cloud is a fairly simple character to play. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Cloud. I think he's pretty good in this iteration. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.